What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. We got some great news today from Chinese electric vehicle maker Xpeng. We're going to go over everything you need to know. They have an investment from the Chinese government, which we haven't seen with the other Chinese EV companies in a while. And if you're going to be betting on a Chinese company, you might as well be betting on one that the government is backing. So we're going to go over everything you need to know. But before we get into it, it says about 65% of you watching are not subscribed. So if you're not, well, then please be sure to subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date on what's going on in the stock market, tech news, and other investments. Really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate it. But today we're going to go over Xpeng Motors, stock ticker symbol XPEV, because recently they got a $76 million investment from the Chinese government. And while this isn't a very large investment, it's pretty small in the big scheme of things, it's pretty important because Xpeng is the one Chinese EV company that seems to consistently get investments from the Chinese government. And in my mind, the one big risk of investing in a Chinese company is government regulations, what can happen, what the government decides to do, because they have a lot of power there. So if the government consistently is putting money into a company, that's a company I want to be invested in. So right now with Xpeng, they got the new round of funding from the Chinese government of the southern Chinese province where they are headquartered in. And according to Xpeng, they said this money is going to be used to accelerate the business's expansion. They already started to expand overseas into Europe. They have over 100 vehicles already sold in Norway. They're looking to expand more into Europe, and they're continuing to look to expand more vehicles, more with their autonomous driving software, and continuing to grow, sell more and more vehicles. In addition to this, since their IPO, which was it's $1.5 billion US IPO in August, Xpeng has continued to ramp up production. They continue to battle Tesla, trying to sell their vehicles, compete against NIO, Li Auto, and they've raised money a couple of times since then. So this isn't the first time, but it's important because it is from the Chinese government. And right now, many analysts are saying that Xpeng is very undervalued, especially since the stock started at $15 a share. It rose all the way up over $75 a share at one point. Now it's back down pretty significantly in the mid 30s. I had spoken about the stock when it was $15 a share. I told everyone how I sold out of it when it was at $70 a share. I sold out when it was $71 or $72 a share. So I've bought back in since then. But right now, there's still a lot of upside for this company. According to tip ranks, you guys like when I talk about this, the average price target. But the average price target for Xpeng right now is $53 per share, and it's only sitting in the mid 30s, around $34 to $36 a share. So that implies about a 46% increase from where it currently is at, which is massive. And I think this is underestimating it a bit. I think it could easily come back to what it was before, around that $70 price range, considering what its market cap is in relation to NIO and Tesla and just the EV industry in general. Because EVs, they focus mainly on software, and that's where Xpeng has the advantage. But anyways, right now, Xpeng, what is in favor of them? The bull case on them is that the macroeconomic outlook for Xpeng, coupled with the recent decline in the stock price, makes it very, very attractive. So right now, China is the world's largest market for electric vehicles, and it isn't expected to change anytime soon. It's expected that they're continuing to be the largest EV market in the world. 2020, they sold 1.2 million electric vehicles. In the next 5 years, they're trying to get that number closer to 12 million electric vehicles, which would be massive. And no country is really close in terms of the total number of EVs sold. Germany comes in second on the list with about 394,000 EVs sold. And many people think that China is going to continue to be the leader, at least in terms of total number of EVs sold. And that's where Xpeng is based out of. So the first and foremost reason why I really like Xpeng, why this analyst seems to really be bullish on Xpeng, is because the government is supporting EVs tremendously. They want people to buy EVs. They're putting subsidies, tax breaks in place for people who are buying electric vehicles. In addition to that, the second thing is that China already has a lot of EV charging stations, and in order for people who have never had an electric vehicle before to convince them, some people need convincing, and in order to convince a lot of consumers, they want to know that they can charge their vehicle anywhere if they need to make a trip. It's just like a gas station. If there weren't gas stations, people wouldn't really buy gas vehicles. Like, they would be worried that they would run out of gas and they wouldn't be able to fill up anywhere. Same thing with electric vehicles. If you're driving an electric vehicle, you want to know you could stop somewhere, charge up, refuel essentially, and you're good to go. So that's a second positive with the Chinese EV market, because they already have a lot of the infrastructure and charging stations already in place. And the third thing is that EVs accounted for only 6.3% of all passenger cars sold in China in 2020, which means that there still is a massive, massive opportunity for this market to grow. They're trying to get that number from 6.3% closer to 30% within the next 5 years. So that's going to imply a 5x increase of total vehicles, and they're expecting to continue to grow very rapidly. Eventually, the goal is to get that 6.3% up to 100%, which will happen over time. But in the next couple of years, we're not going to get to 100%, but we could definitely get to the 30% range, and Xpeng is already one of the main players in the Chinese EV market. So Xpeng, they delivered 2,200 vehicles in February, 6,000 vehicles in January. Already, they have about a 577% increase year over year. They're killing it. They're doing so well in terms of year over year growth. February, in terms of deliveries, wasn't their best. They had 2,200 vehicles delivered, which was a significant drop from 6,000 the month before. We don't like seeing that, going from 6,000 in January to 2,200 in February, but mainly that's because of the Chinese celebrations that took place during the month of February, factories being shut down, things like that. So normally it's to be expected that you would see much lower numbers during that time in China. But finally, right now, what sets Xpeng apart from companies like NIO, Li Auto, what sets them apart is that, first of all, Xpeng has a lot of government backing, which is that by itself is a reason to buy the company. But the second thing is that they are really focusing on building smart vehicles. Every single year, they've spent $200 million on research and development for their autonomous driving, smart vehicles, and building up this technology. And that's what makes these EV companies so valuable, is the technology behind them. Because they're not valued like car companies, they're valued like tech companies. So with Xpeng spending $200 million a year investing heavily into their technology, that's what you want to see, especially when the future is going to be robo-taxis, autonomous driving, and all of those technology systems. So for all those reasons, I think Xpeng is a great investment right now. Tip ranks the average analyst, like I said. Average price target is $53 a share. I think it could easily reach what it was at before, which was $75 a share, given some time. But that's what I'm thinking about Xpeng. Stock ticker symbol XPEV. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, well then please be sure to like the video down below. It helps me out so much. And don't forget, you could get 4 free stocks when you download the Webull investing app using the link down below. And I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.